Hello, Candace.
Not you again.
Me again. Remember our last oil change? Your boyfriend said he knew a guy who knew a guy. None of those guys knew what they were doing, including you, Todd.
Silence your oil change anxiety at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, where you can watch our experts change your oil right from your car.
Thanks for coming in.
And finish in about 15 minutes. Valvoline. Service you can see, experts you can trust.
I'm Mallory Hartley. That's Greg Powers, and it's This Week
in Cruton.
It's This Week in Recruiting, presented by our good
It sure is.
Chicken Express. It sure is. We love Chicken Express.
Oh.
I have a fun fact for you about Chicken Express. Well, it's not really about Chicken Express, but it's just a fun fact.
There's so many directions this could always go in. I mean, what's it going to be?
There is a famous person that is from the DFW Metroplex that before he got famous worked at Chicken Express. Do you know who that is?
Greg Tepper.
No, he's not famous.
Not famous enough for what you're saying here. I give up. I'm not going to guess.
Singer/rapper. He dabbles in country too. From Grapevine.
Oh, well, that's Post Malone.
It's Posty.
Grapevine.
Post
Grapevine
Malone
gave it away. Yeah.
I know. But yeah, he used to work at Chicken Express.
I was really starting to go through my brain of like who is from the DFW that's a singer rapper, and I was like coming up with nothing. But Tepper did get Chicken Express for his lunch yesterday. I saw, and I was really jealous.
Yeah, China walked in carrying the yellow box, and she was like, "Where's Tepper? I have his lunch." And I was like, I'm Tepper, actually.
I should have said, are you looking for Greg?
I know.
You meant Greg?
I was like, I'm Tepper, actually.
Yeah.
You can just give it to me. I'll give it to Tepper. But we always appreciate Chicken Express being the sponsor of our favorite segment, This Week in Recruiting. Shall we get into it? We've got a huge week ahead of us. It's the first week of the Texas High School football playoffs, first of all. And we had a lot of movement when it came down to flips and commitments this week. So let's dive right in. We'll start with our prospect on the rise. Our prospect on the rise this week, it's North Forney 2026 athlete Legend Bey, Mary Flipmus Powers.
Yes.
Mary Flipmus, the 5'11", 175-pounder, is the newest DCTX 4-star in the class of 2026. He flipped his commitment yesterday from Tennessee to none other than the Ohio State Buckeyes. Big get for Ryan Day, Brian Hartline, and company there in Columbus. So much fun to watch. 1,341 passing yards and 15 touchdowns, and 1,626 rushing yards and 23 touchdowns already this season. He's explosive.
Yeah, we've been talking about this for a week, so I was a little bit sad that he flipped his commitment yesterday on Monday when we had this planned for Tuesday. So people are going to say now, he got 4 stars because he committed to the number 1 team in the country. That's not true. We already had him slated to be a 4-star. We've been planning it for a week, just waiting to sit down and do it. And his senior season is a large reason why.
It's electric.
He is an amazing football player, a guy who is absolutely lethal with the ball in his hands. And I found it interesting that Ohio State is recruiting him a little bit at running back as well in this class. And I think he just reminds me a little bit of Dontre Wilson, who went to Ohio State from DeSoto. But I think Legend Bey might be even more explosive than Dontre Wilson. He is one of those guys who absolutely 100%, if your team is playing North Forney, he pulls the ball down to run, you are holding your breath.
He's so elusive.
With anticipation.
Yeah.
And I love this quote from Marcus Shavers, and I'm going to follow this up because I know you had the chance to sit down with Legend Bey earlier this year, but I want to give you this quote from Marcus Shavers, who's talked with Matt Stepp following their big win over Longview. And Coach Shavers, he's a Texas high school football historian. And I've sat down with him and had this
Certified ball knower.
I've sat down with him and we've had these conversations. But this is what he says. I believe this wholeheartedly. When it's all said and done, you'll have to put Legend Bey in the category with some of the greatest players that have ever played Texas high school football. And I know Shavers knows ball. I know the guys that he's putting him in that category with because we spoke about him. It's just like a fun topic when the boys get together to like talk ball. This is always something that comes up. Who's the best high school football player if Coach Shavers is putting that stamp on him, so am I.
You know, he's pretty good.
And I'm just going to pull it up. He is actually going to be our highest riser in the DCTX Rising Top 50. And at Dave Campbell's, you have to be in the top 50 to be a 4-star. And Legend Bey, he moved up to number 24 overall in the DCTX Rising Hot 100. So he jumped up 35 spots.
Now, here's the thing, too. You're a certified ball knower as well. So
Thank
if you're
you.
saying that Legend Bey is one of the fastest risers in our rankings, he's got to be pretty good.
Well, I think something that helped him rise, too, is he's always been a guy that's played quarterback.
Right.
But he has embraced the opportunity to become an athlete at the next level, right? A guy that can do a little bit of everything. And as a quarterback, I don't know that he would have rated quite so as a straight quarterback, but as a Swiss Army knife or utility blade on an offense, he's absolutely unbelievable. I don't know where the best spot to line him up is. Move him around. Guess what? He can throw. So that opens up the playbook significantly as well.
And can catch, too. I read an Ohio State report that they might use him as a slot receiver, too. Maybe return a couple of punts. So he's very versatile when it comes to having the ball in his hands in some capacity. I talked to him last week. Well, actually, I've talked to Legend Bey a lot.
Yeah, I forgot you did talk to Legend Bey last week.
We actually went down to North Forney. Oh, gosh, it was back in May of last year or something.
Yeah.
We actually got to sit down. I got to sit down with Legend Bey and do one of my longer form interviews. Also did that with Ryan Gilbert before he committed to SMU there. Talked to him a little bit there. That was before he made his commitment to Tennessee. He made his commitment to Tennessee back in June, I believe, of this year. Talked to him last week because he won the Built Ford Tough Player of the Week in Class 6A. And that was fresh off his visit from Ohio State. And so I just wanted to ask, how he was feeling about the visit. And he was beaming with joy talking about Ohio State. And I asked him what his favorite part about his visit was. And he said, Jeremiah Smith. That's all he said. He's a dog. And I was like, yeah, he's kind of one of the best receivers in college football right now.
He ought to be pretty excited about Julian Sayin.
Oh, yeah.
Too, because he's still got some ball left to play in Columbus, and he's very efficient. Yeah. But, yeah, I think Jeremiah Smith, the classic of college football, to me, the best player in college football, if not one of them.
Yeah,
maybe I'll hedge my bets a little bit and say there are other guys. Colin Simmons is pretty good.
Colin Simmons is pretty good.
But, yeah, I think that it's a good fit for him within that offense. Texas offered him right after he took his visit to Ohio State. So that was very interesting, too, that he got a big offer from the Longhorns in state. But, yeah, Legend Bey, he's a ball player.
He is an absolute ball player. He's a prospect on the rise. It's North Forney 2026 athlete, Legend Bey, as he flips his commitment to Ohio State. Let's move on to our commit of the week. Our commit of the week is Arlington Lamar 2026 wide receiver Khamill Pruitt, the 6'1", 165-pounder committed to TCU over offers from Baylor, Kansas State, Northwestern, and Washington State. He's the highest-rated receiver in TCU's 2026 class and committed to the Frogs Saturday after their win over our Iowa State, in which he was actually in attendance for. I personally think this is a huge get for TCU. I love this kid.
He has had a tremendous senior season as well. 1,082 yards, receiving yards, 11 touchdowns. The thing that I really like about Khamill Pruitt is his ability after the catch, because he's 6'1". He's an easy 6'1". As a matter of fact, he's one of the rare recruits that I went and watched in the spring and thought that he was bigger than his listed measurables. He gives off the vibe that he's taller and bigger and stronger than 6'1", 175, and maybe he is a little bit bigger than that right now. But he is tremendous after the catch, picking up yak, right? Gets the yak. He can run through arm tackles, has the top end speed to make defenses pay, and then he can absolutely take the top off of the defense. I even think that he could flip over and play safety. I'm not putting that on him because Malcolm Kelly recruited him at TCU, so he's going to get his chance to play wide receiver. He's going to play wide receiver for the Horned Frogs, but I just think that he's the type of athlete, he's good enough of an athlete that he could play multiple positions in college. But Khamill Pruitt has really been the heart and soul of that Arlington Lamar offense that has a first-round playoff game versus Dallas Jesuit. So
that should be a good one.
Yeah, that should be a very closely contested game. But Khamill Pruitt could be the trump card in that.
I think so too. Well, he's kind of a late bloomer in a sense of he only had a handful of offers coming into his senior season. It was around week 3 or 4. They played Mesquite Horn, and he broke out. 5 catches for 224 yards and 3 touchdowns in that game.
What?
In that game against Mesquite Horn.
What was the average for that's like over 40 yards per catch. I mean, that's sick.
It's
so
crazy.
He had an absolute game.
Yeah. Washington State offered after that, and then in October, TCU came, Baylor came, like all of them started to come. So kind of a late bloomer in that sense, but better late than ever, I should say.
Well, he really got to put his fingerprints on the offense. You remember Trenton Yancey was a breakout freshman for Arlington Lamar, transferred to Duncanville, and since then, Khamill Pruitt has been the star of the show. And they are a team that has continued, I feel like, to get better throughout the course of the 2025 season.
Yeah, they're one of the ones that I think that people kind of counted out in District 8 6A, but they creeped their way up, and now they finished 3rd in District 8 6A.
It only feels right because Lamar has like traditionally been one of those programs that produces top talent. You know, even if you're thinking back to Shane Buechele.
Yeah, with Coach Laban DeLay, he was there a couple years ago, and then, of course, Billy Skinner took over. That program always, like you said, produces top-end talent.
Yeah, it's one of those pipeline schools.
Absolutely. He is our commit of the week. It's Arlington Lamar 2026 wide receiver Khamill Pruitt as he commits to TCU. Let's round it out with our underclassman of the week. Our underclassman of the week is Crowley 2027 wide receiver Antayvious Ellis, also known as Tay Ellis. The 6', 175-pounder committed to Nebraska over offers from SMU, TCU, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, and more. He had every offer, it seemed like, in the country. Ellis is rated as a DCTX 4-star and is on our DCTX 5-star watch list. I'll never forget when Carter and I went out to a Crowley game 2 years ago, I believe. So Taylor was a freshman at that point. And they were playing Mansfield Summit. And he had a couple of insane catches in that game. He went for almost 100 yards. I think it might have been close to 90 yards in that game and a touchdown. And Carter and I looked at each other and we were like, we should probably go tell Powers about this kid. And that was before I moved over to recruiting. But I remember watching him in person for that very first time. And I was like, this kid's going to be special. Yeah,
he was a member of our DCTX Rising Top 25 as a freshman. A lot of his offers, I think he's got around 35 to 40 scholarship offers. A lot of his offers rolled in during that remarkably good freshman breakout season. But I have to admit, I feel like people have fallen off a little bit on Tay Ellis, but I like his tape from this season just as good as any of his other tape. Yeah. I really feel like that he showed what, as a recruiting analyst, I want to see on tape. He showed more route tree diversification.
Oh, yeah.
He has really tremendous body control. He can climb the ladder, contort his body, lay out to make catches, but also make those backwards catches where he's falling down to pull the ball in. He is a guy. Oh, yeah.
As you can literally see behind us, that's where I pulled it
I
from.
feel like I saw that catch on his highlight tape. But he's one of those guys that can make those spectacular catches look marginally easy. And that's really difficult to pull off. I think that he's a guy that can be inside out or outside in. I like that diversification about his game because he can line up in different ways. Crowley usually uses him as a wideout at the wideout position, split out wide, and I like that too. But I think that he will give Nebraska a guy who can develop into a true number one option at the collegiate level, and that's why I think this is a huge pickup for Matt Rule. One, it's in Texas. Nebraska, I feel like, needs to recruit Texas. And two, I think that he could develop to be that guy.
I think Nebraska was on him pretty early, if I remember. So, back when he was a freshman, they were one of the first programs that even offered Tay Ellis.
Yeah, this is a guy that had them all, because you look at his offer list and it's from Ohio State to Texas A&M, you know, from Columbus to College Station. This is a guy that had all these offers, and he's going to Lincoln, Nebraska, to play his college ball. And Nebraska fans were pretty fired up, and justifiably so, about his commitment.
I saw that he posted, I think that it's when they played North Crowley, and it was of him and Jerry Outhouse, and there were a couple of Nebraska fans in the stands, and they were like, Jerry Outhouse, come to Nebraska. But that was after Tay had already committed.
Well,
so
you know
cool.
Tay is going to be working on him to join him out there.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
that is something also cool to note about, I feel like, Nebraska fans. We've been out to a few games this year where Nebraska fans have been in attendance with their signs and like trying to talk to players after the game and get their pictures with them. And I think that's really neat that the fan base, in a very wholesome manner, right, coming out to see their favorite Texas high school football stars who are going to be coming up to Lincoln to play their college ball. That's a real cool, like, little wrinkle that their fans are a special thing that their fans do. I've been to Nebraska for a game and seen it firsthand. They have a tremendous fan base. It's a really cool atmosphere, and they embrace what I think everything is good about college football. If they get beat or if they win, they respect their opponents, cheer them off the field. It's a tremendous culture.
Well, and Matt Rule just signed an extension too, so I think he's there.
Yeah, some things to be excited about for Antayvious Ellis and the Cornhuskers with Matt Rule sticking around for a while. Or it's going to cost somebody a small fortune. You're going to have to give up an island. You're going to have to give up an island to get Matt Rule now.
Absolutely. I think he's here to stay, and he's the underclassman of the week. It's Crowley 2027 wide receiver Antayvious Ellis as he commits to Nebraska. All right, Powers, I think that's going to do it for us today. We have a busy week ahead of us with the first round of the playoffs looming in. Would you like to give a little bit of an insight to where we're going to be on Friday night?
We'll be at the Duncanville Temple game. Temple traveling up to Panther Stadium in Duncanville to take on what is the team that I picked to win the state championship. But Temple is going to have something to say about that first. They're going to combat that with four-star defensive end, our new number 10 player in the DCTX Rising Hot 100, Jamarian Carlton. And Jason Bradford is another guy that's definitely you should be paying attention to. He's also committed to TCU. And then Duncanville's loaded up. I really love their defensive front. Landon Barnes committed to Ole Miss, and KJ Ford committed to Florida. But they have one of the top sleepers in the state, too, in Ja'Cory Johnson at defensive tackle. So that's a very, very tough defensive front that Duncanville, really top to bottom, because you can just Braylon Edwards, you know, you can keep rattling off.
Go down the list, D1 guy, D1 guy, D1 guy, and the aforementioned Trenton Yancey there too. So I'm excited to see him.
Tons of talent.
Tons of talent. It should be a good time. Of course, you can watch that on TexanLive.com on Friday night starting at 7 p.m. Just a quick reminder, it is playoff season, and we have all of the coverage to bring to you for everything that you want to know about the Texas high school football playoffs. All you have to do is go to texasfootball.com/playoffs. That is our playoffs hub on our website. Please go print out some brackets, fill out your brackets, post them and tag us.
Yeah, what are you waiting on?
Predictions. We had our whole entire show yesterday where we made all of our predictions. So you've seen who we've picked. Let's see who you guys pick. Go ahead and fill out your brackets.
Come tell us we're wrong.
Please come tell us that we're wrong. Go to texasfootball.com/playoffs for all of your Texas high school football playoff needs. I think that's going to do it for us today. For Sam Moore, our producer, for Greg Powers, our director of recruiting, I'm Mallory Hartley. We'll see you next Tuesday for This Week in Recruiting.